The USS Vanguard floated in the dark space near the blue planet of Asteria. This was the home of the Citarans, aliens with blue scales and strong mind powers. Earth had sent its best ship to make friends with these powerful aliens. Lieutenant. Commander Olivia Winters stood by the window looking at the alien world. She had studied Citaran laws for months. As the ship's legal officer, it was her job to help make the first treaty between humans and Citarans. Olivia was known for always doing what was right no matter what. "We're cleared to land, Lieutenant Commander," said the pilot. "The Citarans have sent landing coordinates." Olivia nodded. "Thank you. Is the diplomatic team ready?" "Yes, ma'am. They're waiting in the shuttle bay." The small human team flew down to the surface of Asteria in a shuttle. Through the windows, they could see tall crystal towers that caught the light of two suns. The alien city sparkled like diamonds. The shuttle landed on a large platform. A group of blue-scaled aliens waited for them. The Citarans were tall, with 4 arms and purple eyes that seemed to glow. They wore shiny metal clothes with strange patterns. Olivia led her team out of the shuttle. She bowed in the Citaran way, with her head down and arms crossed. "We thank the great Citaran people for welcoming us to Asteria," she said. A tall Citaran with a gold crown stepped forward. "I am King Thoros of X. We welcome humans to our world." Behind the king stood a female, Citaran with a smaller crown. Her scales were darker blue and her eyes were cold. "My daughter, Princess Zara of X," said the king. The princess did not bow back to the humans. She looked at them like they were bugs. The king led them into a great hall made of crystal. Servants brought food and drinks for a feast. Olivia watched how the Citarans ate and copied them carefully. She knew that good manners were important for this first meeting. A Citaran servant carried a jug of purple liquid. As he poured it into the princess's cup, his hand shook a little. Some of the drink spilled on the table. Princess Zara of X's eyes flashed with anger. She spoke in the Citaran language, but Olivia understood. She had studied their language too. "You clumsy fool," said the princess. "You have ruined the royal feast. Guards, take this one to the death chambers." 2 Citaran guards grabbed the servant, who fell to his knees, begging. Olivia stood up quickly. "Princess, please wait." Everyone in the hall went quiet. No one spoke to the princess like that. "What did you say, human?" asked the princess. "It was a small accident," said Olivia. "On Earth, we would not kill someone for spilling a drink." The princess's face turned dark blue with rage. "You dare to question me? I am the princess of all Asteria. Guards, kill this human too." King Thoros of X raised his hand. "Stop, this is a diplomatic meeting. We cannot kill the humans." The princess glared at her father. "This human has insulted me in front of everyone. She must die." The king looked worried. He turned to Olivia. "I am sorry, Lieutenant Commander. Perhaps it is best if you return to your ship. We can forget this happened, but we must end our talks. Humans and Citarans cannot work together after this insult." Olivia thought quickly. Going back to the ship would save her life. But it would mean humans and Citarans might never be friends. Earth needed this treaty. Then she remembered something from her studies. There was an old Citaran law that even the royal family had to follow. "King Thoros Vex," she said, standing tall, "I invoke the Tribunal of Truth." The hall erupted in shocked whispers. The king's face showed surprise and worry. "What is this human talking about?" asked the princess. "The Tribunal of Truth is an ancient law," said the king slowly. "It allows anyone to challenge the actions of another, even royalty, in a formal trial." "That's right," said Olivia. "I formally charge Princess Zaravex with abuse of power. By your own laws, she must stand trial." "This is madness," shouted the princess. "Father, stop this." The king looked troubled. "I cannot. The Tribunal of Truth is our oldest law. Even I must follow it." He turned to Olivia. "Do you understand what you are doing, human? No outsider has ever used our laws against us." "I understand," said Olivia. "But I believe in justice even on alien worlds." Her communication device beeped. It was a message from Earth's diplomatic corps. "Withdraw charges immediately. Do not risk treaty." Olivia turned off the device. She knew she was disobeying orders, But she couldn't let the princess kill an innocent servant. And she knew that if humans backed down now, the Citterans would never respect them. "The tribunal will begin in 3 Citteran days," announced the king. "Lieutenant Commander Olivia Winters will prepare her case against Princess Zaravex." The princess leaned close to Olivia and whispered, "You have signed your death sentence, human. Not even your ship can save you now." Olivia met her gaze without fear. "We'll let the tribunal decide that, princess." As Olivia was led to quarters in the lower level of the palace, she wondered if she had made a terrible mistake. But when she saw the servant who had been saved from execution watching her with grateful eyes, she knew she had done the right thing. The first human visit to Asteria had turned into something no one expected. A human putting an alien princess on trial. And not even the king could stop it. Olivia Winters lay awake that night, planning how to win a case in an alien court with alien laws. The future of human-Citteran relations depended on it, and so did her life. Olivia woke up in her small room in the lower part of the Citteran palace. The air felt heavy and warm. She had 3 days to build a case against Princess Zaravex, but she needed help. She used her communicator to call the USS Vanguard. "This is Lieutenant Commander Winters. I need to speak with Maya Donovan." Soon Maya's face appeared on the small screen. Maya was the ship's expert on alien cultures. She knew more about Citterans than anyone else on the ship. "Olivia, everyone's talking about what you did," said Maya. "Captain Lin is furious. Earth Command wants you to drop the charges." "I can't do that," said Olivia. "I need your help, Maya. Can you come to the palace? I need to know everything about Citteran trials." Maya looked worried but nodded. "I'll be there in 2 hours." Olivia spent those 2 hours exploring the palace. She noticed how the servants kept their heads down and flinched when nobles walked by. Fear was everywhere. When Maya arrived, they sat in Olivia's room with data pads spread around them. "The Tribunal of Truth is almost never used," said Maya. "The last time was 300 years ago, when a noble challenged another noble over land rights." "What happened?" asked Olivia. "The challenger lost and was executed," said Maya. "But that doesn't mean you will lose. The tribunal has strict rules. Even the princess must follow them." They worked through the day, studying Citteran law. Maya explained that in a Citteran trial, both sides would have their minds read by court telepaths to check if they were telling the truth. "That's a problem," said Olivia. "The princess can just lie in her mind." "Yes, and as a royal she has strong telepathic powers," said Maya. "She could even change memories in the minds of witnesses." Olivia frowned. "That's not fair. How can we fight that?" Just then there was a loud crash from the hallway. Olivia opened the door to find a large stone had fallen from the ceiling, missing her by seconds. A Citteran servant stood nearby, looking shocked. "I'm sorry, the stones are old, it just fell." But Olivia noticed fresh marks on the stone. Someone had pushed it. She closed the door quickly. "That was no accident," she told Maya. "Someone tried to kill me." Maya looked scared. "We should go back to the ship." "No," said Olivia. "If we leave, the princess wins, and that servant who spilled the drink will probably be killed anyway." They went back to work, now looking for witnesses who might speak against the princess. Maya found records of servants who had disappeared after making small mistakes around the royal family. That night, as Olivia slept, she woke to the smell of smoke. Her room was filling with thick black clouds. She grabbed her communicator and ran to the door, but it was locked from the outside. "Help!" she shouted, banging on the door. "Fire!" No one came. Olivia wrapped a wet cloth around her face and searched for another way out. She found a small air vent and began to pull at it. Just as the smoke became too thick to breathe, the door burst open. It was Maya with 2 Citteran guards. "Are you okay?" asked Maya, helping Olivia into the hallway. "Someone tried to kill me again," said Olivia between coughs. The next morning, Olivia went to see King Thoros of X. She was led to his private chamber, a room made of blue crystal with strange plants growing from the walls. "Lieutenant Commander," said the king, "I heard about the unfortunate accidents in your quarters." "They weren't accidents," said Olivia. Someone is trying to kill me. The king looked troubled. That is a serious claim. Do you have proof? No, admitted Olivia. But these things happened after I challenged your daughter. I will have guards. Protect you, said the king. But I must warn you, Lieutenant Commander, even I cannot protect you fully. You have challenged royal authority. There are some who see this as an attack on all Cyterans. I'm not attacking Cyterans, said Olivia. I'm defending your own laws. The king leaned forward. Why risk your life? For a servant you don't know? Because it's right, said Olivia simply. On Earth, we believe everyone deserves justice, not just the powerful. The king studied her for a long moment. You are either very brave or very foolish. Perhaps both. He sighed. The trial will proceed as planned. May the truth protect you. Back in her new room, Olivia and Maya continued to gather evidence. They found a kitchen worker named Tella who had seen the princess order executions before. She killed my friend for bringing cold food, whispered Tella, looking around fearfully. But I can't testify. She'll know what I'm thinking and kill me too. We need a way to block telepathy, said Olivia to Maya when they were alone. Can the Aini ship help? Maya called Kate Lawson, the ship's engineer. Kate thought for a moment. We have neural dampeners for cosmic radiation, said Kate. I might be able to modify them to block telepathic waves, but it's risky. It could cause brain damage. We have to try, said Olivia. Can you make them in time? I'll work all night, promised Kate. On the third day, hours before the trial, Olivia sat in her room reviewing her notes. The door opened without a knock. Princess Zaravex walked in, her blue scales gleaming in the light. Human, she said coldly. I've come to offer you a chance to live. Olivia stood up. I'm listening. Drop the charges, said the princess. Say you made a mistake. Bow to me in front of everyone. If you do this, I will let you leave alive. And if I don't? Asked Olivia. The princess smiled, showing sharp teeth. Then you will lose the trial. My father has already arranged it. The judges are loyal to the throne. That's against your own laws, said Olivia. Laws are for the weak, said the princess. My father is only allowing this trial to show everyone what happens to those who challenge us. You will be broken and humiliated before you die. Olivia stood her ground. I don't think so. I think you're worried. Maybe your people are starting to question why royals can kill without consequences. The princess's eyes flashed with anger. You know nothing of our people. She stepped closer. Last chance, human. Submit or die. I'll take my chances with the trial, said Olivia. After the princess left, Maya rushed in with a small box. Kate finished the neural dampeners. They worked in tests. Inside the box were small silver discs. Put these behind your ear, said Maya. They should block telepathic probing. Olivia picked up one of the discs. Tomorrow we find out if they work. And if they don't. She didn't finish the sentence. That night, Olivia couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about what the princess had said. The trial was rigged. But maybe, just maybe, there was still a way to win. If she could show the Cyteran people the truth, perhaps they would demand justice themselves. As the first of Asteria's 2 sons rose, Olivia prepared for the trial that would either change Cyteran society forever or end with her death. Either way, she would not back down. The Grand Hall of Justice was huge. It was carved from living crystal that seemed to catch light and turn it into colors. Thousands of Cyterans sat in seats that went up and up in circles. Their blue scales and purple eyes made the hall look like a sea of stars. Olivia walked to the center of the hall. She wore her Earth uniform with pride. The neural dampener disc was hidden behind her ear. It made her head hurt a little, but Maya had said that was normal. Princess Zaravex entered from the other side. She wore shining royal clothes with gems that caught the light. She looked confident and angry. High Arbiter Kolvex, the king's cousin, sat on a tall chair above everyone else. He wore black robes with silver designs. The Tribunal of Truth is now in session, he announced. His voice echoed through the crystal hall. Lieutenant Commander Olivia Winters of Earth has invoked ancient law to challenge Princess Zaravex of Asteria. The crowd made a low sound, like wind through trees. Olivia could feel their minds pressing against hers, curious and hostile. The dampener helped, but she still felt pressure. "We begin with the ritual of perception," said the High Arbiter. "Both parties must submit to telepathic scanning to verify they believe their own claims." A Cideran woman in white robes approached the princess first. She put her hands near the princess's head, not touching but close. After a moment she spoke. "Princess Zaravex believes herself innocent of all charges." Next, the telepath came to Olivia. She placed her hands near Olivia's head. Olivia felt a strange pushing sensation, like someone trying to open a door in her mind. The neural dampener grew warm. The telepath frowned. "I cannot read the human's mind clearly. There is interference." The crowd erupted in angry shouts. The High Arbiter banged a crystal rod on his chair. "Silence," Lieutenant Commander explained. "This interference." Olivia had prepared for this. "High Arbiter, human minds are different from Cideran minds. Your own law, the Code of Biological Variance, states that different species cannot be held to identical standards in matters of biology." The High Arbiter looked surprised. Olivia could tell he didn't expect a human to know such an obscure law. "The telepath will try again," he ordered. The telepath placed her hands closer to Olivia's head. Olivia felt pain as the woman pushed harder, into her mind. The dampener grew hotter. "There are fragments," said the telepath. "The human believes in her accusation, but I cannot see all her thoughts." The High Arbiter consulted with 2 other judges. Finally he spoke. "We will allow the human to present her case without full scanning, but this puts her at a disadvantage in the eyes of the tribunal." Olivia nodded. It was what she had expected. "I call my first witness Tella of the Royal Kitchens." A small Cideran woman walked to the center of the hall. She wore a servant's simple clothes and looked terrified. She also wore a neural dampener, hidden under a head covering. "Tella," said Olivia, "please tell the tribunal what you saw 3 moon cycles ago in the royal dining hall." Tella's voice shook. "I was serving the evening meal. My friend Nex brought the princess's food. It was slightly cold because the ovens had broken that day. The princess—" She paused, gathering courage. "The princess ordered the guards to take Nex to the death chambers. We never saw him again." The princess stood up. "This servant lies. I remember that day. The servant Nex tried to poison my food. That is why he was executed." "Witness," said Olivia to Tella. "Was there any poison in the food?" "No," said Tella. "We all ate the same food from the same pots. No one got sick." Master Jurist Vrel Nor, the princess's defender, approached Tella. He was tall even for a Cideran, with dark blue scales and cold eyes. "You claim the princess killed your friend for cold food," he said. "But you hated the princess already, didn't you? Because she had your brother sent to the mining colonies last year." Tella looked down. "Yes, but—" "So you want revenge," said Vrel Nor, moving closer to Tella. "You would say anything to hurt the princess, you—" "Objection," said Olivia. "The defender is using intimidation tactics on the witness. This violates the Cideran Code of Judicial Conduct, Section 12, Paragraph 4. The High Arbiter looked at Olivia with new interest. "Objection sustained. Master Jurist, step back from the witness." Vrel Nor looked angry but moved away from Tella. Olivia called more witnesses, palace guards who had carried out the princess's cruel orders, servants who had seen her rage. Each wore a neural dampener and each told similar stories. As the day went on, Olivia noticed something strange. The crowd's hostile feeling was changing. Some Ciderans were beginning to listen with interest. Some even looked troubled by what they heard. The king, who watched from a special seat, looked worried. He whispered to an aide, who left quickly. When the last witness finished, the High Arbiter spoke. "We will now pause the tribunal for the stellar alignment ritual. We will continue in 1 Cideran day." As the crowd began to leave, Olivia saw something that gave her hope. A group of young Cedarans were talking excitedly, looking at her with what seemed like respect. Maya hurried to Olivia's side. "You did it. The witnesses were amazing. The princess looked really worried by the end." "It's not over yet," said Olivia. "What's this stellar alignment ritual? It wasn't in any of our research." Maya frowned. "I've never heard of it either. I think the king made it up to stop the trial." "He's getting desperate," said Olivia. "That's good for us." As they walked back to their quarters, Olivia saw the servant Tella being followed by 2 royal guards. She quickly stepped between them. "Tella is under Earth's protection now," she said firmly. "Any harm to her will be considered an attack on Earth." The guards looked at each other, then walked away. "Thank you," whispered Tella. "They would have killed me for sure." "Stay with us tonight," said Olivia. "It's safer." Back in their room, Olivia, Maya, and Tella reviewed what had happened. They were making plans for the next day when Olivia's communicator beeped. It was from the USS Vanguard. "Lieutenant Commander Winters," said Captain Lin's stern face on the screen. "The Galactic Council has been contacted by King Thoros Vex. They claim Earth has violated diplomatic protocols." Olivia's heart sank. "The king is trying to stop the trial." "The council is sending observers," said the captain. "And I have new orders for you from Earth Command. You are to withdraw all charges immediately." "I can't do that, Captain," said Olivia. "We're making progress. The Sidoran people are starting to question royal power." "This is a direct order. Lieutenant Commander, withdraw the charges or face court-martial when you return." Olivia looked at Tella, who was shaking with fear, and thought of all the other servants who had found the courage to testify. "I'm sorry, Captain, but I can't follow that order." Olivia took a deep breath. "I hereby resign my commission in Earth's Space Forces. I now act as a private citizen seeking justice." The captain's face showed shock. "Olivia, don't throw away your career." "Some things are more important than my career," said Olivia. "Winter's out." She shut off the communicator. Maya stared at her. "You just gave up everything." "Not everything," said Olivia. "Not my principles." That night, as Olivia tried to sleep, she wondered if she had made a terrible mistake. Without her Earth position, she had even less protection. But she remembered the faces of the witnesses, brave despite their fear. She couldn't let them down now. Tomorrow would bring either victory or disaster. The king was pulling every string he could. The princess was probably planning more ways to attack her. And now even Earth had abandoned her. Olivia touched the neural dampener behind her ear. It was their best defense against Sidoran telepathy, but it wasn't perfect. She would need more than technology to win this trial. She would need to show the Sidorans something they had never seen before. A human standing up for what was right, no matter the cost. The second day of the trial began with a surprise. A new figure sat beside the High Arbiter. It was a Menton, a member of one of the oldest species in the galaxy. The Menton looked like a tall, thin human, but with silver skin and no hair. It wore flowing white robes. "The Galactic Council has sent Observer Tal to watch these proceedings," announced the High Arbiter. "The Council is concerned about this unusual trial." Olivia saw King Thoros Vex smile slightly. He had called in powerful friends to help his own daughter. Before the trial resumed, Maya rushed to Olivia with news. "The ship sent down Dr. Samantha Ward," whispered Maya. "She has something that might help us." Dr. Ward, the Vanguard's chief medical officer, joined them. She carried a small silver case. "Captain Lin doesn't agree with Earth Command," said Dr. Ward. "She sent me to help unofficially." She opened the case to reveal a small device. "This can detect recent molecular changes in physical evidence. If the princess alters anything, we'll know." "That could be crucial," said Olivia. "Thank you." The trial resumed with Princess Zaravex presenting her defense. She called her own witnesses, all noble Sidorans who praised her kindness and wisdom. Then, she showed recordings of the supposedly executed servants, all alive and well on distant colony planets. "As you can see," said the princess, "these servants were not killed. They were transferred to other duties. The humans' accusations are false." Olivia stood up. I request permission to examine this evidence with Earth technology. The High Arbiter looked to the Menton observer, who nodded slightly. Permission granted, said the High Arbiter. Olivia and Dr. Ward approached the recordings. Dr. Ward passed her device over them and it beeped loudly. These recordings were created less than 6 hours ago, said Dr. Ward. The molecular structure shows recent formation, not the months or years claimed. The princess's face darkened with rage. How dare you question royal evidence? This human technology cannot be trusted. The Menton observer spoke for the first time. Its voice was like soft bells. The device uses universal principles of molecular decay. It is accurate. Whispers spread through the crowd. For the first time, some Sidorans were openly questioning the princess's honesty. Princess Zaravex stood up suddenly, her eyes glowing with anger. Enough of this. I will not be judged by lesser beings. She raised her hands and Olivia felt a terrible pressure in her head. The neural dampener grew hot, then made a small popping sound. Pain shot through Olivia's mind as the princess's telepathic attack broke through. Olivia fell to her knees, clutching her head. Images flashed through her mind. Earth's history, humans fighting for freedom, standing against tyrants, dying for justice. She felt the princess tearing through her memories, trying to break her will. But something unexpected happened. Through the telepathic connection, those same images flowed back to the princess, and from her to the whole court. For a moment, every Sidoran in the hall glimpsed human history, the long struggle for rights, for equality, for justice. Olivia collapsed on the floor. Through the pain, she saw the princess step back, looking shocked. The connection had shown her things she never expected. Then the Menton observer moved with surprising speed. It placed a hand on Olivia's head, and the pain stopped. This attack violates universal law, said the Menton, its voice now hard as steel. The princess has used forbidden powers against a defenseless being. King Thorisavec stood up. This tribunal is a mistake. As king, I nullify these proceedings. You cannot, said the Menton. This trial has drawn the attention of powers beyond Sidoran authority. It will continue. The High Arbiter looked torn between fear of the king and respect for the Menton. Finally, he said, the tribunal will continue tomorrow. The princess's attack will be noted in the record. Guards helped Olivia back to her quarters. Dr. Ward examined her, worried about brain damage from the telepathic attack. You're lucky, said Dr. Ward. The neural dampener took most of the damage before it failed, but you need rest. Maya looked worried. We should go back to the ship. The princess tried to kill you with her mind. She won't stop. We can't leave, said Olivia weakly. Did you see what happened? When she attacked me, everyone saw Earth's history. They saw what we've been fighting for. This could change everything. Later that day, there was a knock at the door. Maya opened it cautiously. A young Sidoran noble stood there. I am Vendor, he said. I wish to speak with the human. Maya let him in, watching him carefully. Lieutenant Commander, said Vendor, to Olivia, who lay on her bed. What we saw today, the images from your mind, they have caused much discussion among my people. What kind of discussion? Asked Olivia. Some of us have questioned royal power before quietly, said Vendor. But we never had the courage to speak openly. Your challenge to the princess has changed that. Half the royal court now believes the trial should continue fairly. And the other half? Asked Maya. They support the king's attempt to protect his daughter, said Vendor. There is division now where there was none before. After he left, Olivia tried to plan for the final day of the trial. Her head still hurt, and without the neural dampener, she was vulnerable to telepathic attacks. We need a new strategy, said Maya. The princess will be desperate tomorrow. I've been thinking about that, said Olivia. Dr. Ward, can you scan the princess's DNA? Dr. Ward looked surprised. Possibly. Why? When I was researching Sidoran law, I found something interesting, said Olivia. Their breeding laws are sacred. Royals must keep their bloodlines pure. Any genetic modification is forbidden. You think the princess modified her DNA? Asked Maya. It would explain her unusually strong telepathic powers, said Olivia. And it would be the ultimate crime in Cideran culture, Dr. Ward nodded. I'll prepare a scanner, but how will we get close enough to use it? I have an idea, said Olivia, but it's risky. That evening, Admiral Helena Chen from Earth Command called on the communicator. Olivia, she said, using her first name instead of her former rank. This situation has escalated beyond anything we expected. The Galactic Council is watching closely. I know, said Olivia, but we're making progress. The king has threatened to cut all ties with Earth, said the Admiral. He says his people will never trust humans again. Some of his people are already trusting us more, said Olivia. This isn't just about one trial anymore. It's about showing the Ciderans that power should have limits, even for royalty. The Admiral sighed. You always were stubborn. Be careful. Olivia, you're on your own out there. Not completely, said Olivia, looking at Maya and Dr. Ward. I have friends. That night, as Olivia finally slept, Princess Zara Vex appeared in her dreams. The princess's mental powers were reaching out, even now. You should have left when you had the chance, human, said the dream princess. Tomorrow I will destroy you completely. Why do you hate us so much? Asked Olivia in the dream. Because you are weak, said the princess. Yet you act as if you are strong. It offends me. We are strong, said Olivia. Not with telepathy or royal power, but with something you don't understand yet. What is that? Asked the princess mockingly. Hope, said Olivia. The belief that things can be better. That's why we keep fighting tyrants, even when we lose. Because someday, we win. The princess laughed, but there was uncertainty in her eyes. She had seen human history during her attack. She had seen humans rise up against kings and queens who thought their power would last forever. As dawn broke on the final day of the trial, Olivia prepared herself. She was still weak from the telepathic attack. She had no neural dampener to protect her. Earth had abandoned her. The king and princess were against her. But as she walked to the Grand Hall of Justice, she saw something that gave her strength. Common Ciderans lined the path, watching her with new eyes. Some even bowed slightly as she passed. Win or lose, something had already changed on Asteria. The trial had shown the Ciderans that even a princess could be questioned, that power could be challenged. And that was a beginning. The Grand Hall of Justice was filled to capacity on the final day of the trial. Ciderans from all levels of society had come to watch. The tension in the air was thick enough to touch. Olivia walked to her place in the center of the hall. She felt the eyes of thousands upon her. Without the neural dampener, she could sense their emotions more clearly: curiosity, fear, hope, anger. The Ciderans were divided, just as Vendor had said. Princess Zara Vex entered from the other side. She looked confident again, her royal clothes even more elaborate than before. King Thoris Vex sat in his special seat, his face like stone. The Menton observer watched everything with calm silver eyes. High Arbiter Colvex called the tribunal to order. Today we will hear final arguments in this unprecedented case. Then the judges will decide the truth. Master Jurist Vrel Nor spoke first for the princess. He talked about royal tradition, about the divine right of the royal family to rule as they saw fit. He called Olivia an outsider who didn't understand Cideran ways. This human seeks to destroy our sacred traditions, he said. She wants to make us weak like Earth, reject her false accusations and uphold our royal authority. Many nobles cheered his words, but Olivia noticed that many common Ciderans did not. Then it was Olivia's turn to speak. She stood in the center of the hall, feeling strangely calm despite everything. I did not come to Asteria to challenge your traditions, she began. I came seeking friendship between our worlds. But when I saw a servant about to die for spilling a drink, I could not stay silent. She looked around the hall, meeting the eyes of Ciderans from all ranks. This is not about humans versus Ciderans. This is about a truth that exists across all worlds. Power without accountability corrupts. True civilization begins when even the highest authority must answer for their actions. She saw some heads nodding, even among the nobles. On Earth, we learned this lesson through centuries of struggle. Kings and queens once ruled us with absolute power. They claimed divine right, just like your royal family. But over time we realized that no one should have the power of life and death without checks on that power. She turned to face the princess directly. Princess Zaravex has killed servants for small mistakes. She has ordered executions without trials. She has used fear to rule. Is this the leader you want for your future? The princess stood up suddenly. Enough! I will not be lectured by a primitive species. I invoke the right of combat. As the accused, it is my ancient right to challenge my accuser to physical combat. Gasps filled the hall. The High Arbiter looked shocked. The right of combat has not been used in 1,000 years, he said, but it is still valid under our oldest laws. The king smiled slightly. In physical combat, the princess would easily defeat a human. Citizens were stronger and faster. Do you accept the challenge, Olivia Winters? Asked the High Arbiter. If you refuse, your case is lost. Olivia took a deep breath. I accept. Maya rushed to her side. Olivia, you can't. She'll kill you. I have to, whispered Olivia. But I have a plan. Is Dr. Ward ready? Maya nodded. Yes, but this is too dangerous. The grand hall was quickly rearranged for combat. A circle was marked on the floor. Ancient weapons were brought out, ceremonial blades and staffs. As servants prepared the area, Olivia approached the High Arbiter. Before combat begins, I invoke the right of final revelation, she said. This allows me to present one final piece of evidence that may make combat unnecessary. The High Arbiter looked surprised again. You know our laws well, human. Present your evidence. Olivia nodded to Dr. Ward, who stepped forward with her scanner. I believe Princess Zaravex has violated the sacred breeding laws of Asteria, said Olivia loudly. She has modified her own DNA to enhance her telepathic abilities. The hall erupted in shocked cries. Genetic modification was the most serious taboo in Sideran culture. Lies, shouted the princess. How dare you? A simple scan. We'll prove it, said Olivia. Or disprove it if I'm wrong. The king stood up. This is outrageous. I will not allow. The law is clear, interrupted the High Arbiter. The right of final revelation must be honored. The princess will submit to scanning. Dr. Ward approached. The princess, who stood rigid with anger. The scanner hummed as it passed over her. The results show artificial modifications to the telepathic centers of the brain, announced Dr. Ward. The changes are not natural mutations. Chaos broke out. In the hall, Siderans shouted and argued. The princess's face turned dark blue with rage. Silence, ordered the High Arbiter, banging his crystal rod. When order returned, he turned to the king. Your Majesty, this is a serious matter that requires investigation. King Thoros of Vex stood. As king of all Asteria, I declare this tribunal dissolved. My royal authority supersedes all law. For the first time in Sideran history, the High Arbiter did not bow to the king's command. The law stands above all, Your Majesty, he said quietly, even above the throne. The king's face showed shock, then fury. Guards, end this trial now. But the royal guards did not move. They looked at each other in confusion. Some even stepped back. The Menton observer stood up. The Galactic Council recognizes the authority of Sideran law in this matter. The trial will continue. With no support from the guards, the king sat down slowly, his power visibly weakening. The High Arbiter turned to the princess. Princess Zaravex, do you deny these findings? The princess looked around wildly, seeing her support crumbling. I did what was necessary. Our family's telepathic powers were growing weaker with each generation. I strengthened myself to better rule Asteria. Her admission brought gasps from the crowd. She had confessed to the ultimate crime in Sideran culture. The tribunal has heard enough, said the High Arbiter. We will now decide. The three judges withdrew to a private chamber. The hall waited in tense silence. Olivia could hardly believe they had reached this point. Win or lose, she had exposed the truth. When the judges returned, the High Arbiter spoke solemnly. Princess Zaravex is found guilty of abuse of power and violation of the sacred breeding laws. The sentence is mind-cleansing. Her telepathic abilities will be removed, as will her memories of royal privilege. The princess screamed in rage, "Father, stop this!" But King Thorasavex, seeing the mood of his people, did not move. He knew his dynasty was at stake. If he defied the court now, he might lose his own throne to revolt. "The sentence will be carried out tomorrow," said the High Arbiter. "This tribunal is ended." As guards led the princess away, she locked eyes with Olivia. No words were spoken, but the message was clear. This is not over. In the days that followed, Asteria began to change. The king announced reforms to limit royal power. A council of common citizens was formed to advise the throne. Servants were given new rights and protections. Earth Command, seeing the positive changes, offered Olivia reinstatement with promotion. But she had other ideas. "I'm staying on Asteria," she told Admiral Chen. "The citizens have asked me to be Earth's first ambassador to their world." "You've earned it," said the Admiral. "What you did there, it will change relations between our worlds forever." As Olivia took her oath as ambassador, news came from across the galaxy. On distant worlds ruled by other royal houses, people had begun to question absolute power. The story of the human who put a princess on trial had spread, inspiring others to seek justice. King Thoros, now ruling with the new council at his side, met with Olivia in the palace gardens. "You have changed my world, Ambassador Winters," he said. "Not all changes are easy, but perhaps they are necessary." "Change is never easy," said Olivia. "But your people respect you more now than ever. You chose law over power when it mattered most." The king looked thoughtful. "My daughter is different after the mind cleansing, humbler. Perhaps she will be a better ruler when her time comes." Olivia wasn't so sure. She had seen the princess watching her with cold eyes during ceremonies. The mind cleansing had removed her telepathic powers, but not her intelligence or ambition. That would be a problem for another day. For now, humans and citizens were building a new relationship based on mutual respect. Ships from Earth brought teachers, doctors, and traders to Asteria. Citizens visited Earth, sharing their advanced technology. Maya stayed on as Olivia's cultural advisor. Dr. Ward returned to the Vanguard with samples of Citeran medicine that could help humans. And Tella, the kitchen servant who had bravely testified, became the head of the new Servants' Council. One evening, as Olivia stood on her balcony looking at Asteria's twin moons, she thought about how far they had come. A simple act, standing up for a servant about to be executed, had changed the course of two civilizations. She didn't regret it, despite the danger and sacrifice. Justice was worth fighting for, on any world. And sometimes, one person, with courage, was all it took to change history. On distant stars, other royal houses worried about the story spreading among their people. The tale of a human who put an alien princess on trial, and not even the king could stop it. A story of courage, justice, and the power of standing up for what's right, even when facing impossible odds. A story that was just beginning.